Yeah.
All right, here we go, guys. This is the last podcast, I guess, of the season. Flying high with the birds, Philadelphia Eagles talk. I am the Godfather. So far with me today is the podcast chaplain, Jimmy. How you doing?
All right, how you guys doing tonight?
You're doing all right?
I'm still pissed.
And
Hoping.
and the Armenian hammer and
I'm ready to hammer somebody.
Go down.
I'm ready to hammer somebody.
I'm
Yeah,
ready.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
we're
about Vahe all watching that whole game.
Oh my God, I was so pissed. It's unbelievable.
No, but listen, I got to tell you guys something before Seal the Deal comes on. What did he say last week that he produces when the games really count?
Yeah, he said don't even worry about
Did
it.
not produce.
Mhm.
So listen, let's get started here. He'll be on like probably any minute, but Jimmy, start it off. Just break it down for me. What your thoughts
Sure.
were.
So Andy Reid cost us another Super Bowl. He literally pants the Eagles in the whole second half. And the part that gets me is they ran the same play on 2 of their touchdowns. I was just on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, but
It was-
did you hear today
Yeah, I did hear that. I was going to say
about
that.
that they think Peterson may
He
have
lo-
called Reed?
Yeah, I did hear that.
The same
Just
play
like-
happened in
And
Jackson.
just like supposedly they're buddies with the old man, the 90-year-old guy, the field
yeah.
turf guy.
Yeah.
Supposedly he told the Chiefs, he's like, you might want to use these cleats, but a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
Yeah,
But
Well-
the bottom line is you should blow a 10-point lead
no.
in the second half of the Super Bowl.
Oh, just to reiterate, the final score in the Super Bowl was Kansas City over the Eagles, 38-35. Eagles had a 10-point lead at the end of the half. Could have been more. They shot themselves in the foot. Hurts, who had a great game with a devastating fumble, returned for a touchdown, and then the awful punt, and the line drive punt in the third or fourth quarter, I guess, the fourth quarter, that actually caused the Eagles' demise. But first of all, let's start out with the coaching hires. What do you guys think about Steichen going to Indianapolis and our boy Gannon going to Arizona?
I think it's just because they went to the Super Bowl, and that's the reason they're getting the jobs. I'm still amazed Gannon getting a head coaching job. I'm really, really amazed. I mean, I don't
give
know
him
what
2
they see in this
years.
guy. It's unbelievable. I mean, he was so exposed in that game. It's
He
like
was.
so embarrassing. And on
Yeah.
top of it, he still gets the job.
Yeah.
Unless nobody else wants that job because of Kyler Murray and then that fiasco.
Yeah, but it's going to pay a lot of money, so they're looking at the cash register. But
Yep.
now that their interviews were like Monday, right? The
Mhm.
game was Sunday. Would you guys like kind of universally agree that both coordinators' minds were on their interview?
Yeah, I mean, they weren't prepared. I
Yeah.
mean, Jalen Hurts bailed them out on the offensive side.
Absolutely.
And
Oh,
on the
100%.
defense, there was nobody.
Yeah.
No one made one defensive play the whole game.
But
Exactly.
as I was saying earlier, I just get the feeling that I know Sirianni's close with all these guys, and the bottom line is for him to have that extended coaching tree so that they can go all get head coaching jobs or whatever. But part of me says that when he went home, he was probably really pissed at one or both of them, because he had problems with Steichen too, even though the Eagles scored 35 points. But then I guess he didn't do his press conference yet, his final press conference. I guess maybe it'll be tomorrow, hopefully. But you know what he's going to say. Well, it's on me. I mean, he's the head coach. So, but I think deep down inside, he's pissed because he gave them an opportunity. And deep down inside, I guess they weren't as prepared. And I guess part of that has to fall on the head coach too.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the game and you go back and try to analyze it, I don't think either one of them came in prepared. I think they were overwhelmed either by the stage of the game or probably they were preoccupied with their, interviews. because in the beginning it was all Jalen, and in the second half when the Kansas City started, moving, they couldn't do anything. I mean, none. There was
Yeah.
hardly any punt. They didn't punt at all, right, in the second half.
Oh, no.
Their
Kansas-
receivers were wide open the whole
Wide
time.
open and they're
Wide
running.
open.
They averaged over 6 yards a run. There were no sacks. And they scored all 4 times they had the ball in the second half.
Plus, did you see that play when Mahomes on his bum ankle ran faster than most of the Eagles players? It was so I mean, if I wasn't like the Eagles fan, it's like so comical. You see like this goofy guy running. There's like a
Well,
bunch of guys running
He
behind
obviously
him.
got shot up at halftime. So I'm sure, I'm sure he felt it probably after the game. But I give the guy a lot of credit. He's got a lot of guts. He hung in there. And, there was a little tiny bit of pressure. But, the biggest thing that bothered me, especially with the defense, is you have so many players in that starting defense that are playing for contracts. And how many of them produced where they're going to get a big contract next year? The only one that I think really played good was Hargrave. I think he had 5 or 6 tackles and a couple of pressures. He played hard, but we didn't hear a thing out of Cox. We didn't hear a thing out of Brandon Graham. Nothing out of Ndamukong Suh. Nothing out of Josh Sweat.
They
Well,
were saying
well,
somebody
well-
was saying that remember at the beginning of the season he used to play Cox and BG like about 70-80% of the
Yeah.
snaps, and then when they brought in Ndamukong Suh and the other guy, then
Del
they
Joseph.
broke them down, and then they started being more effective, right?
Yeah.
Apparently in this game they went back, same thing. Cox played like 70-75% of the snaps. Same thing with Brandon Graham, and I guess they're old, right? They're not being able to effective.
Let me ask you guys this universally, because we're all 3 in the same boat, and been very big Eagles fans for so many years. I'm just going to give you my experience. I was pissed Monday or Sunday, and I told my wife after the game, I said, listen, by tomorrow, we're going to forget about it. So I'm pissed now. Well, I was upset Monday, but today I was even more upset. I don't know how you guys felt, but this is still really bothering.
The 5 stages of grief, they said. That's what they say. I was more pissed this morning than yesterday too.
Yeah, I was just really upset. Let me ask all of you guys, to the man, is this the worst tragic ending of a season that you have ever been through in Philadelphia history?
It's still the Buck loss to me. The last year of that Buccaneer game.
What do you mean?
The playoffs with Buccaneers.
When Rondé Barber,
The
when
last
Rondé Barber,
game with the vet. The
yeah,
last game
Oh,
with
I
the
see.
vet when
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
thought they were going to the Super Bowl.
I
That
was telling-
Buccaneer game was.
I was telling Will that I broke my, I had a lot of people over that day and I broke my remote when he did that pick and ran it
Yeah,
back.
that's still the worst game to me for Eagles.
Yeah, how about you, Vahe?
I think this one because we had so much hope, and everybody said that we're going to be the favorite and going in, and halftime you're up 10 points, and honest to God, I thought we were going to win the game because we were so much in control, even with the fumble, even with like the field goal. I felt like basically we were in control of the game.
Yeah.
And when they came back in halftime, I remember you texted me, you said, this is like ridiculous. And I said, maybe just that they just got caught off guard and they're going to, shape up and they're going to stop them.
Yeah.
And it happened again and again. And then it was like completely like, I don't know, the whole thing fell apart.
Yeah, how about
The
you,
worst
Vahe?
part about basically is that you had all this talent on this team, right? You have all this talent on this team. And he got exposed like so bad. I mean, those jet sweeps and the guy goes back and then Slade gets caught, in the middle and the guy just walks into the end zone touchdown. And they do the same thing on the other side. And come on. I mean, I can do that. I mean, I can be like a failure like that,
Yeah. I think Maddox looked a little lost out there. He had times where he was bouncing around. How about you, Will? Is this the worst?
Yeah, the Bucks loss with Rondé Barber was the biggest for me forever, but this one, completely surpass that just because this team, like, it was the best Eagles team I've ever seen in my life. All around, like, the entire team as a whole was stacked. And the defense was like a historically talented defense where they were putting up all these crazy numbers. And I think it just came down to the two coordinators were preoccupied with interviews. And then you saw that article come out yesterday saying that the NFL wants to change their rule to have, you can't hire any coaches until after the season. And I bet you that probably came from Jeffrey Lurie reaching out to the NFL saying, this is bullshit. Both of my coordinators were interviewing for other jobs and it showed on the field.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah, absolutely.
I was
it was
thinking the
just a
same
bad
thing.
product. They put a bad product out there for a Super Bowl. And it's just, that's the most frustrating thing for me is just how good of a team we were and how talented and how great they were. They were not prepared at all, and they still were in that game to win it. And if they just had a little, if the coordinators could have just focused during the week and planned and taught the fucking, corners how to adjust to freaking motion, I mean, we would have won the Super Bowl. And it's so unfortunate.
Well,
Hey,
that-
Brad.
I mean, that's what happened. I mean, on Saturday we were down in DC visiting my son, and on the way back, I was listening to NFL radio on Sirius XM,
Serious, yeah.
and first they talked about Steichen getting the head coaching job in Indianapolis. They already said that on Saturday. I mean, it was a pre-gone conclusion, and they even made a the point about that maybe. Hopefully he didn't get preoccupied with that interview and not focus on his job. They said that, right? So it's already out there. And I cannot imagine when you're going for a head coaching job, that's like a dream come true. You have to really go and prepare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Subconsciously, the last thing on your mind is, the game, because this is it. I mean, this is your opportunity to get a head coaching job. And probably that's what happened. And they thought that we just show up, and then we're going to win.
Yeah.
And neither one of them were ready. I mean,
I felt the same way. Well, look at Matt Patricia is the perfect example. In the 17, he had the job. He knew he was going to get the job with the Lions, and the Eagles torched his defense on that day. So you're right. I mean, I think the fans in this town are pretty good judges of everything football related.
Mhm.
And I think to the man, they feel that they're not talking too much about, Steichen because the Eagles scored 35 points, but more so with Gannon that he really wasn't prepared. But the funny thing is, all week we heard about Steichen going to Indianapolis. This talk about Gannon getting the Arizona job, that didn't pop up until the very end of the week. Like, I didn't know about it till like Friday that he was interviewing for the job and he wasn't even discussed a couple weeks ago. So Gannon, I think, was aware of it all along. But I will say this, I don't think he has any idea, none, how upset thousands and thousands of fans are in this city with the game plan that he had on Sunday. I think he's thinking he got the job. And here's the coup d'etat. Arizona is coming to the Link next year. They didn't say the game, they didn't say when, but they are on the schedule. They're coming here next year. He's going to get crucified here.
I don't think
I
he,
agree.
I don't think he cares.
He
Yeah,
probably
at that
does.
level, it's all about themselves. I mean,
Part of him, if he has a heart, I'm sure part of him has to be concerned. Now, I listened to.
no, I don't think
I
The
so.
guy
listen-
just made so much
I don't
money.
think he cared.
No, I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's funny. I listened to Ike Reese this afternoon. Now, he's a guy that you should listen to because he played in the Super Bowl. He was an NFL player. He kept saying that, what was he going to do? The players are the ones making the plays on the field. Yeah, I understand that, but you could see that the players, to me, looked like they didn't know where they were going.
Mhm.
To me, like,
I don't like that argument because the thing is that if it's success, right, the coach taking credit for it. If it's a failure, it's the players that are not doing their job. You cannot have it both ways,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if he's going to give them a credit, the coach, for the, giving and getting so many sacks, you also have to take the blame when they're really being exposed. You cannot be,
And
selective.
listen, they burn us on that, short motion where the guy's wide open. He scores a wide open touchdown because Slay runs into the middle of the field. Those players go back to the sideline, they sit on the bench, and they talk to their coaches and their position coaches. And you coach it so it doesn't happen again, so they can go back out there and they won't do it again. And the same exact thing happened.
That's what got
No,
me so
They
frustrated.
don't care.
Where's the iPad? Like, yo, here, it's 2023.
Yeah.
They all have the iPads on the sideline.
You don't think they got on the sideline? They're like, dude, he just went on motion. I'm supposed to pick him up and you stay there. Like, that's it.
You know what? They should have
Well,
given,
we
actually,
got it.
I wish they could give the MVP award for Super Bowl to the losing quarterback. Because if you look at the game, and some people, I was watching some shows on TV. If you didn't know who it was, right? You didn't know who Mahomes was or Jalen Hurts was, right? And you're watching the game for the first time, you would think that Jalen Hurts is the MVP.
Yeah.
Because all his passes were contested. Like everybody was covered and the guy was throwing dimes after dime, right?
Yeah.
Mahomes, how many throws did he have? He didn't have that many.
He
And they
only
were all
threw-
wide open.
He only threw for like 181 yards, I think.
Yeah,
the
and
reason
most
for
of
that
them
You
were
were
like wide
telling me that,
open.
the
Well,
Eagles
that-
would have won the game.
He didn't have the football in the first half. That's the
Right.
reason.
Right. And then they ran the ball a lot to start the second
Yeah.
half.
Well,
Exactly.
You know what's interesting?
And he got the MVP award for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you know what I think is interesting? I noticed in the first half that when Hurts was taking a snap, it was right at the end, like 3, 2, 1. And then I started thinking, well, wait a minute. This is a good ploy because they're keeping the ball out of Mahomes' hands. That's what I thought it was. But as the second half started, I kind of started to realize that that wasn't the case. I think that they were having a hard time getting the plays in. And I kind of think that's more the reason. I don't know. I might be wrong.
I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right. They
I
weren't
was-
prepared.
Because in the second, like they were actually down to 0. They actually could have been called 2 other times.
Yeah, so it was really close.
Time.
I just
Yeah.
figured they were trying to kill the clock.
Yeah.
No, I think that's what they were doing in the first half, but in the second half, the defense was making adjustments at a halftime, and we couldn't pick up on it. So it
Yeah.
was taking too long for Jalen Hurts to make adjustments at the line because, again, he wasn't prepared. That's what I think it was.
And I think
might
probably
be-
what happened during the
They were not
halftime.
ready the whole second half.
Yes,
Well,
I
okay.
mean,
Maybe
how many
Kansas City
plays-
went
how
in
many-
and prepped for the second half. Our guys probably they watched Rihanna concert.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
watched
but, I mean,
it.
how many third down plays? It was third and whatever, and second or third and whatever, and the play Hurts got like rushed to his left side, and you see him running. That happened at least 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a product of coaching.
It was Gannon was not preparing the defense, and Steichen was like, "We'll be okay because Jalen Hurts is going to bail us out."
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's exact, and I think that like today and yesterday, it grew on Sirianni that, you know what, I gave these guys an opportunity of a lifetime to be like part of my coaching tree, so that maybe you could get head coaching jobs. And now he's and he's pissed, and he's probably sucking it up and just saying all the right things. But you know what? This is going to be a sour taste in his mouth. But, seriously, I know that the Eagles wanted to keep, they're saying that Eagles wanted to keep Gannon. I don't know if I were Gannon, if I would want to stay in this town right now, because he has a lot of people really upset at him.
Okay, why they want to keep Gannon? I mean, why?
I don't know. Well, because of his body of
still-
work during the whole year.
Yeah, the whole year he's been great. We
Yeah.
can't argue with it. But the fact is, when it
But-
mattered, the guy chose his career over, winning the Super Bowl. That's going to bother us.
But now
Right.
you're looking back and you see basically, yeah, he was looking good against the mediocre quarterbacks.
But
You know,
Vahe, we can't adjust the schedule. We play who we play. you
No,
know?
no, you cannot say it that way. What I'm saying is basically is that if he's really, really good, right? He should be good against good quarterbacks too, not what your schedule is. Because eventually you're gonna see a guy who's really, really good, and you're gonna get exposed. So you're not playing for the regular season, you're playing for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And he got exposed big time. And
Yeah.
probably could have been exposed in the San Francisco game if maybe Prudy is you didn't get in, or whatever the guy's name is. Trudy or Prudy, he wasn't hurt. You don't know.
Yeah, well, I
Any
mean, he
good
only played
quarterback-
one good quarterback all season, and it was in the Super Bowl, and clearly his mind wasn't invested in the game.
Any quarterback of any talent that they played had
Yeah,
a,
Yeah,
exposed
over the
that.
last 2 years for sure.
yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
he's only been here for 2 years anyway.
Yeah.
no, but I mean, like, what can you, let's get off of all the complaints about the coordinators, and I figured that this be a big part of it, but I mean, seriously, let's talk about the development of Hurts for the entire year.
Oh man,
I
I
mean,
love
there's a-
that guy. I love
there's
that
a-
guy. I mean, that
I mean,
guy's.
and I know, like, Will, you really truly couldn't stand him last year.
I'll never burn his jersey again.
No, but no, outside of that, though, did you really, did you see like a big difference in the
Oh,
way?
yeah.
he
Oh,
played?
yeah, no,
That guy is the real deal. He means business, and I'm so happy I was wrong. I'm happy he's I know he's gonna do a big contract. I'm fine with it. Howie Rose gonna work out numbers with other people, but I mean that guy's earned every penny that's coming to him.
Well, speaking of that, we got,
Back-
go ahead,
he-
Jimmy.
Spagnola texted Gorgano and said, yo, Hurts is the real deal. Like,
Oh, yeah,
Gargano was talking about on his show today. He's like, I was talking to Spags, and he texted me and saying, yo, he's the real deal. He talked about how good the offense is because of Hurts.
oh, yeah.
Just gonna say that. I mean, his defense didn't do anything either.
No,
No,
he
they
didn't.
didn't.
He knew it. He knew
But
it.
he made plays, but you know what, though? They made big plays in the second half when they had to. Because the Eagles were forced to punt not once, but twice in that second half. So kudos to him that he did a good job.
I don't know,
But
man.
you
I
said
think if
special
the
teams-
that's another thing with that with that penalty at the end. I strongly believe that the Eagles, if they got that, one timeout and that minute and a half,
Oh,
they
we
would have
would've
gone
won.
down and scored. No
Yeah, we
question in
would've-
my mind.
I think it's possible. Now, this is an important point. You got 19 free agents on this team, 12 are starters. So let's go down the line with those free agents. So let's start on the defensive side of the ball. Just give me a yes or no. Marcus Epps, is he here next year?
Yeah.
I like Epps.
I think he'll take, they're not going to pay him big money, so I
You know,
would say
he'll be
he's here.
back, and I think he's affordable, and they'll be able to sign him.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, and they need that guy.
He's gonna be their number one guy to bring
Yeah.
back.
He's gonna be outside of Hurts, the guy that I think they need to sign. TJ Edwards.
No.
I'm afraid he's going to leave. I think someone's going to give him money. They might lose him. I
think
hope
you're
I'm
right.
wrong.
I think you're right. I think you're right. What about his linebacker mate, Kaiser White?
He'll also be
I don't
going-
think. I mean, you have the N'Kobe Dean, right? I mean, he's
Yeah.
supposed to be a star.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
they should have played him because he would have been better fit for what was going on in the game. He's like very athletic, running
Yeah.
sideways, and that's what they needed for that game.
Probably, but he hasn't played all year, and I don't think it would have been right to just take Kaiser White out and play him. So hopefully next year's his year, but so we can universally agree that there's a good chance that both linebackers are gone.
Mhm.
Right? James Bradbury,
I think
He's-
he'll be back.
you think he will?
You think he's back?
No,
I think he's gone.
I think he wants to come, he said today that he wants to come back, but he's not taking small money.
Right.
If somebody gives him a big contract, he's gone, and I don't care who it is, if it's Houston, whoever it is, he's going. And he deserves it,
It's his
because
last payday.
it would be his last, because he's, I think 29 going on 30. Brandon Graham,
he's gone. There's no way they should pay him $50 million. The guy's
Do you think he retires?
no,
what?
Do you think he
No.
retires, or do you think he
No, he
plays?
wants the money. He wants the money. It's going to go somewhere else.
no one's gonna, no one's gonna give him big money.
Yeah,
He wants what? How much did he make it? $14-15 million, right?
15.
Yeah, I think that's what he wants.
Yeah, he's not getting that. I
Whether
mean,
he's getting or not, I get that, but I mean that's what he's looking for.
Did you see him on the field Sunday?
Yeah, I think it was like
Remember him on the field.
They're getting old, Armand. All
Yeah.
this like him, Fletcher Cox. I mean,
Well,
they-
let's talk
that's it.
about him. You think he'll be offered a contract?
Who?
Cox?
No,
I don't think he will either.
No,
yeah,
they need a
but
fresh start.
losing
Yeah.
these two guys isn't gonna kill us.
No,
I mean, they're getting old. You can
Yeah,
put.
but remember, Will, you got Cox, you got Brandon Graham that may not be there. Linvale Joseph is gonna be gone. Ndamukong Suh is gone. Who was the guy that played in the middle and then he tore his knee? The guy from Southern Cal. And then they got the he had he was like a Hawaiian guy. You know what I'm talking?
Opu or Opa? What's no?
Yeah, it began with an O or no, yeah. Well, now there's a guy that tore his knee. You don't know if he's coming back. Derek Barnett's a free agent.
Is he a free agent?
Oh, yeah, because they gave him a 1-year salary and I think he got 10 million.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Barnett only got 1 year.
He's not showing up on my
And I'm surprised.
list.
I thought Barnett was a free agent.
Let me see if he's under the cap for next year.
the defense is definitely gonna look a lot different next year.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna be concentrating more on the, on the defensive side of the ball for the draft and maybe free agency. What about Andre Dillard? You think he'll be back?
I mean, what they going to do? I mean, Isaac Samuel is gone, right?
He's a free agent too. I don't know.
Depends what he gets in the market.
Yeah, well,
These
he fought.
guys are gonna test it, and then we'll just have
Some
to
of them
see.
may come back. So a lot of these guys may be gone, and I think some of them might take team-friendly deals. I don't know. But, you got a lot of players here.
They're getting old. I mean,
Yeah, the good thing is that the players that are free agents I feel like we already have the replacements in-house, and then we could just draft to get some depth. Like the defensive line, it's gonna be Sweat, Reddick, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, and then you can, whoever this guy, the Hawaiian guy you're talking about, he's there. You can always plug in like 2 more guys.
Well, when he was in there, that's when they were getting torched for, a lot of running yards, like against Washington and all. So he
Yeah,
wasn't really much of a help. And he's going to be getting over a knee injury. So I think they're going to really need to address the defensive line and probably defensive back next
Yeah,
year.
they're probably gonna go D line, 10th pick in the draft. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. But
Would you
I
say
mean,
that-
linebackers, Kaiser White and TJ Edwards.
I like
care
Edwards.
less
He's a
about
good
them.
tackler. I think he struggled a little bit in the playoffs. He was exposed a little bit because he's not real fast, but I really like him. He's got a lot of determination. I guess you would both assume that the punter is gone.
oh my God,
Better.
are you kidding me?
He's still in Arizona. He's still in Arizona.
Yeah, maybe Gannon's going to take him.
He
You know?
cost them the game too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He only
Uh,
had one. How many punts did he have? 1 or 2, right?
I think
I
I
think
don't think the
2.
Eagles punted in the first half.
I think just one.
Yeah.
They punted twice.
Twice, and one of them almost got a touchdown.
Yeah, and we said special
And
teams.
believe it
would
or not, they said that punt was supposed to go to the left and he hit it off the side of his foot and it went to the right. And all the plays. Would you say that Michael Clay's gone?
You should.
I mean, they ended up being maybe 32nd in the league in special teams.
Yeah.
I would say that they got to make a change there. So there's an outside chance the Eagles are going to be needing 3 new coordinators. Now they're talking about the guy, Brian Johnson. That's the quarterback coach.
Yeah, what's his name? Jalen Hurts really likes him.
Yeah, well, he was with him as a kid and they're together all the time. I think he'd be a great idea. And he called the plays, I think, down in Florida for the
Oh, yeah?
City of
Wow.
Florida. I think he would be a very good coordinator, especially since he's very close to Hurts and
Yeah,
speak
He
the same
called
language.
in college.
Yeah, he played, I think he played at Florida. And then he was I think he was.
He's
an
he's
offensive-
been Hertz's like mentor his whole life. they say.
Yeah, and because he knew him growing up as a kid.
Mhm.
And he also, I think, called plays was the offensive coordinator for Florida a couple years. I'm pretty sure.
Only- The only thing I'd say that I might not like it is because he's done such a great job just developing Hurts. If you take him away from that, where he's got to pay more attention to the entire offense, who's going to be, the guy with Hurts, making sure that he's still developing as,
Well,
as
you know
much
what's
as he
funny?
can.
They talk so much about Steichen's the one that developed Herbert at at the Los Angeles Chargers, and now he developed Hurts. I don't know. I mean, do you think Steichen developed these two guys?
No, he
They
just
quarterbacks
improvised.
in
I
the
read somebody he was just improvising.
Yeah, I mean,
Herbert-
they were great
Herbert was
quarterbacks to
developed.
begin with.
Coming out of college, Herbert's been developed.
Absolutely. And that's where Steichen's gonna struggle. And I'm gonna tell you, I'll make a prediction. Both of them are gonna be almost at the bottom of both Gannon and Steichen are gonna be at the bottom of the barrel.
I give Gannon 2 years.
Well, I'll tell you, I
He's
can
got
tell
a quarterback.
Steichen with Israel, Irsay, he's gonna be like on top of him. And there's a lot of defensive players from Indianapolis that really wanted Jeff Saturday to come back. So, you look at Saturday, he's a big gruffy, he was a center and all. And Steichen looks like a computer nerd. I just think that he is gonna have a tough, well, both of them look like computers. Him and Gannon.
Well, more so the Gannon, because the thing is that Kyler Murray's still hurt, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's going
And he had an
he's gonna be
ACL.
gone
and-
half the year. He has no quarterback.
And
Yeah.
then he said that he said that unless I'm 100%, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
So
deal with
and
him.
and remember, I mean, what happened with Wentz? Once you had that ACL, you're not the same person.
Yeah,
And Kyler Murray, the whole thing is about running around like a Speedy Gonzalez. So
He's-
if his speed is gone, he's nothing left. He's already like a 5'2" or 5'3", whatever, right? He's a very
Yeah.
short guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
but Vahe, I don't know. Doesn't matter what your roster looks like. If I could just see him going online into his bank account and say, honey. you got
No,
$3
I get that part. No, I get that part.
3
But
million was just
just-
put in the account.
I mean, what Jim's saying that most probably he's going to get fired in 2 years because he doesn't have a quarterback.
Right, but it doesn't matter because he's set for life, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking
Yes.
about longevity as a head coach.
Well, we'll see. Time will tell. Maybe both of them are good head coaches.
He doesn't have a quarterback. Who's the quarterback at Arizona? Kyler Murray is out.
No, it was the guy that played at Texas. He played for years.
Colt McCoy.
Oh, Colt
McCoy.
McCoy.
Yeah,
And,
he's not.
then the other quarterback was a guy from Penn State, McSorley. He doesn't even belong in the NFL. They need, I don't know what they're gonna do. And then JJ Watt excuse me,
He
he just
retired.
retired, yeah.
How about DeAndre Swift? Not DeAndre Swift, the other guy, the wide receiver.
For Arizona.
Yeah, who got suspended for
Hopkins.
Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
Is he back
I'm-
or is he a free agent?
I don't know, but there's a guy that's probably in his early 30s. And yeah, he got suspended for PEDs, I believe.
Yeah, 6 games.
So, no, I think he's gonna have a tough time with that team. But, they're talking like they're, but I just know that right now Sirianni feels, I think deep down inside kind of feels like he was let down. And I truly believe that inside he's just a little upset. And I don't know, I can't see him having a friendly conversation with Gannon saying, oh, man, I appreciate everything you did. Good luck. He's the one taking all the crap right now, And here's the other thing.
Well, he pumped him up too. I mean, he was so pumped up when they won against the Giants. He was making fun of Cataldi that this guy is a once in a lifetime genius, whatever. Okay, so if you want to pump it up, and then you have to take the blame for it too.
Well, the other thing was they said that Gannon was absolutely not available after the game, but he normally isn't available at any of the games. But this game, you would have thought that he should have been because it's a Super Bowl. He wasn't available, and that to me speaks volumes that he didn't want to face any kind of music. He was just thinking about his next gig. And the funny thing is, he throws a disastrous game plan in the Super Bowl, but he stays in Arizona an extra day because he interviews for the team where the field they played on. That's, you know, the team that is interviewing him. So I'm sure he was there with his family and he interviewed and he knew he was getting the job. Chances are he's, you know, I don't know. He's probably looking at a house out there right now, I'm sure, you know? It just really angers me because of like how many years that I've struggled through this team. I will say this, I was thinking long and hard about the most crushing time I ever went through in Philadelphia sports. I'm quite a bit older than all of you, okay? I remember being 8 years old and I was the biggest Phillies fan. The disaster of the 1964 Phillies is something that I will never forget. They had a 6-game lead with 12 games left, lost, I think, 10 or 11 straight. And during that period, St. Louis won maybe 10 straight. The Phillies were, I think, a game and a half out. They had a doubleheader on the last day of the season. I think they won both. I think. Maybe it was one game, and they won the last one like 11-0. And the Cardinals, if they lost, I think they would have been tied. And the Cardinals were losing to the Mets, I think it was. But then they ended up beating them, I think, 11-5. And they ended up, and back then they didn't have playoffs. It was the American League, you know, champion and the National League champion. That was for me one of the most devastating things I went through. Like for me, it was the 64 Phillies,
Who won the World Series in 1964?
the Cardinals. They ended up,
Oh, they did?
yeah, they beat the Yankees.
Wow.
Ended up beating the Yankees. Yep. So they won it. So the Phillies could have won the whole thing. In football, I'll tell you something. I mean, the disaster of Reed and McNabb in what, 2002, 2003, 2004, the pick the Rondé Barber, and that's the reason why he got selected to the Hall of Fame. Rondé Barber was because of that pick. I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. That killed me also. And obviously the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl in 2004, where McNabb decided to take his good old time in the fourth quarter, going up to the line of scrimmage. Jimmy, you would know, Jimmy and Vahe would know a lot. Well, all of you would know about that, more about
Yep.
it. But to me, they're the big,
The other playing on one leg.
yeah. You know, another one, I'll tell you another one that got me, and Jimmy and Will wouldn't know this. If you're a basketball fan, Vahe, you may have remembered this. The 1977 Sixers. They had George McGinnis and Julius Erving. They got as free agents. They were in first place. They played the Portland Trailblazers in the finals, blew them out the first 2 games at the Spectrum, and then Portland won the next 4 games with Bill Walton. Bill Walton was a superstar during that time. That was crushing too. I was a big Sixers fan back then too. But they're the ones that I remember. But with the Eagles, it was all during Andy Reid's era. There was like 3 or 4 years where I just wanted to bat my head against the wall because I thought they were going to be great and they didn't do it. And then, but this, I'll tell you what, this is probably, of all the Eagles, this is the worst one for me.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, and I don't think I've ever been just really pissed 2 days after the game. You know,
Let me ask you this question on the positive side. So we have 2 first-round picks. What do you think? What
I
they're
would
doing?
agree. Well,
Yeah,
wait a minute. At free agents, we didn't bring up
Offense.
I guess all of you think he's not coming back.
Sanders? Oh, he's done. He's gone. I mean,
I don't know.
why?
Body of work was good all year. I don't know. But my opinion is running backs are interchangeable, Vahe. I just can't see the Eagles drafting a running back in the first round.
Couple of mock drafts, they have them picking Bijan Robinson,
The kid from Texas.
kid for Texas. They're saying that he's an ideal running back. He catches the ball and he runs, and he's really, really, the exact type of a running back that the Eagles usually, get.
The
But
only guys But don't you guys think that maybe, that they're gonna trade one of their picks, they're gonna trade down and maybe,
I think they might do that. I like how he stockpiles picks.
I think they're gonna keep both their picks. I just think they're both gonna go to the defensive side of the ball.
all right, and it's possible that they'll sign other players to 1-year deals, like they did.
Depends
So
on
you
how-
think, so Will, you think it's gonna be like an edge rusher and a safety, or an edge rusher and a defensive back?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be an interior guy, like interior defensive lineman, and then a corner. So yeah, some type of defensive back, and then I actually think in the second round, that's when they probably gonna go after like a running back, because they always seem to get their running backs in the second round. I just think like you go into the offseason, you think about the offense you got right now. You got Jalen Hurts, you're gonna lock him up, and then you got 2 number 1 receivers that are, they're solid guys, and they're going to be around for another. I mean, you got Smith probably, I think, for like 2 more years or a 5th-year option. So those
Yep.
guys locked up.
Devontae Smith, man, he's amazing. I mean, that
He's-
kid is.
Goddard.
so
and
good.
Oh
Gainwell
my
was a good-
God.
Yeah,
Gainwell
and
was very good.
And then you got Goddard. So I mean, your offense is pretty great.
Yeah.
I mean, and you might lose like Sayamalu, but you got a great coach. Like you can bring somebody in there and they're gonna be just fine. So if you can just get a running back in the second round, I mean, I wouldn't worry about the offense at all. They're already shown to be like a high power offense. I think we're pretty good there. I think it's really just the defense that we could try to stack up, because you're definitely gonna need some more depth on the line. I mean, yeah, I'll just go defense. I think that's really where we need the players. And I wouldn't trade back any of the picks, because you really we're paying Jalen Hurts now, so you need the young talent. So I would draft the guys now, so they're gonna be around for another 4 or 5 years. So it kind of works out with Hurts' contract. I don't know what he's gonna be getting. Maybe it's like a 6 or 7 year deal, but maybe somewhere in there it'll overlap where
5 years, 50 mil.
yeah, hopefully you can get the young guys now, so they're all cheap at this exact time. You know what I mean?
What about the slot receiver position? Do you see Watkins being here next year?
Well, he's complaining that he's saying that he had a shoulder injury. That's why he wasn't able to catch the
Oh.
ball.
I don't give a damn about him. He can get anybody else.
He had so many.
You know-
he
You
came
know
up,
who's a free agent? Nelson Aguilar. Bring him back.
yeah, he was a good. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, slot receivers to me come a dime a dozen. They can grab somebody for a year. Still,
But-
the
but
one
you-
thing about Watkins is that he's a vertical threat that I would think that would be used to clear the field, but he wasn't of any use when he played. So, I don't know. And Zach Pascal is good enough to be on the team. So I think they got some decisions. They're going to be looking long and hard, I think, at that slot position, possibly, replacing somebody there. But, with Smith and AJ Brown, I mean, you got 2 number 1 receivers
Mhm.
right there, and they're still going to score a lot of points. And I'm looking forward to next year a little bit. Now, we haven't talked about who the defensive coordinator is going to be, and I know they like to hire from within a lot of times. And I keep hearing that name, Denard Wilson. I don't know if any of you guys remember him, but he used to be a defensive back with the Eagles. I'm going to say maybe in the 90s. And he's the D-back coach right now. So they're talking about possibly him. I don't have a problem with that at all. What did you guys think about Vic Fangio signing a 2-week contract?
That was weird. Did he sign with the Dolphins? Isn't he their defense?
Yeah, as of today, he's officially the Dolphins defensive coordinator. But I heard on talk radio that they hired him to help the offense
Yeah.
because of what defense I guess Spagnuolo was going to run.
hmm
I don't know.
I know he worked with he helped. He was a coach in training camp.
Yeah, he's known to be a big defensive coordinator, and then
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
they hired him to fill in the days that Steichen was out interviewing for a head coaching job.
maybe.
How about Lovie Smith
Job, Will, look at that.
No.
as a defensive coordinator? Apparently, he was good as a defensive.
No.
No,
Who?
No.
Lovie Smith.
What about Mike Zimmer?
Uh,
Yeah, Mike
was
Zimmer.
long.
Yeah,
I don't
No,
think they
he's
would ever
with
do that.
somebody.
Is he? I know he sat out this year.
You
Did he
know
just
what? I'm not.
Where
con-
did
Now,
where
wait
did
a
that
minute.
where did that Cowboys defensive coordinator go? He
No,
left
nowhere.
last year.
He's
he's
Quinn.
old. Isn't he like a 90 years old?
No. Maybe he
Quinn.
was like the linebackers coach or something.
Coach?
You know what? I'm sick and
A
tired
real
of trying
young
to.
guy. A young guy.
I'm
Well,
sick
I
and
know
tired of
the
trying to find
defensive
this 20-year-old
coordinator is Dan
genius out
Quinn.
of like nowhere. Why don't you hire somebody who's like experienced?
Yeah, Mike Zimmer. That's who I would
No,
go
you know
after.
what?
I-
I'm
they
gonna
won't-
tell you something. I just heard recently that Zimmer is now. I can't remember. Did he go to University of Colorado with Deion Sanders?
Did he?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. I think that he is now with somebody, and I'm thinking it was college, but I might be wrong. What's his first name?
Mike
Mike Zimmer.
Zimmer.
I'll tell you right now, but he was just hired. Hold on. Well, it says he was a former coach. It's not saying.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't either, but I could have swore that. Oh no, he's on the Broncos radar. That's what it is. I think Peyton wants to hire him as the DC there. That's what it is. With
Yeah, I
that-
could.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't see him coming here. I would like that. But
Yeah, he
I
was
don't see him
good.
coming here.
yeah, he was good. But, well, we can't make any more predictions. That's done.
Too early for next year?
I don't know, I mean, I'm sure we won't have a podcast again until
Draft time.
after all the free agents. I think whatever, like when the free agents are signed and they draft and whoever else they didn't keep, and we can try to put together who their starters are gonna be. So that would probably be a few months.
Vegas has Eagles fourth best to win the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah. Well,
They-
you know what? I'd like to see who San Francisco is gonna have as their starting quarterback next year. That's gonna be interesting because they got two guys that are like, and I don't think it's Garofalo, right? Garoppolo.
No, Trevor Love. What was the
I
guy's
know
name?
that-
Trevor Love or something? What was their quarterback today?
No. What is his name? The rookie that they had that broke his
Yeah.
Trey Lance. Trey Lance.
Trey Lance, yeah. I know that the Niners do not want Garoppolo because they said Garoppolo could have played if he worked hard enough in the playoff game against the Eagles, but he said he wasn't ready. And I think that really teed off the San
Yeah.
Francisco. So he's going to be available. And think about this, you got Garoppolo that's going to be available and Derek Carr that's going to be available for teams. So it's very possible that one of those two could go to Indianapolis.
Aaron Rodgers might be available. Lamar
Yeah, but
Jackson.
Aaron Rodgers, like, I don't
I
know.
mean, someone might take Lamar Jackson. I want to see where he ends up.
Yeah,
There's rumors
I
he
gotta
can
tell you,
go. There's rumors he might go to Atlanta.
no, I heard Washington.
And then I heard
I think
Rodgers
they're gonna franchise tag him for the year.
That's possible, yeah. But,
I don't know if he's going to play on that. He sat at the playoff game. He's like, pay me. Like he wants 400 million, whatever.
Yeah,
If they put the tag on him, I mean, hope he's stuck there for a year, whether he plays or not.
yeah. But the
That
money-
it's going to be interesting to see where he goes, or if he goes anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. So, but it's a quarterback driven league, and one good thing is that the Eagles do have a good quarterback.
He's young.
But to me, the big thing with this team next year is how does Sirianni progress to year 3 with new coaches? He's going to have all new coaches there. So that'll be, that'll be very interesting to see. But I
Okay, the
think,
big thing is the defensive coordinator. That's
Yeah,
gonna make
that's true.
basically whether we go to Super Bowl or not, because
yeah,
on
I
the
think
offensive
it's just
side,
you and
you're already
Brian.
set.
Yeah, I think Brian Johnson's gonna be the offensive coordinator, and I got no problem with him. I think he'll be good, and I
They
know,
already improvised during the Super Bowl. What else you want them to do?
yeah, yeah. But you know what else I liked about him? He was always with Hertz when when Hertz came out and and he sat on the bench. He always had the tablet with Hertz going over things, you know? So I really like him. And I think he'll be a perfect complement to Hertz. But, last question. Does Jason Kelsey come back?
I think he should retire. They already have his replacement.
I
and-
think he's gonna retire also.
I do too.
I mean, why pay him $50 million? I get it. I mean, he's a legend and everything, but I mean, if you want to save money and go the youth way, and you already have his replacement, right?
Yeah.
So why pay $50 million?
Yeah.
I think it's whatever he decides.
Well, of course, we all know that.
I don't know. I think this might just leave a bad taste in his mouth where he wants to come back one more year.
True. Yeah, that's true. Now, here's the last question. Do you think that when they have the competition committee meetings, and I think that's probably going to be in a month or two, that they're going to change the rules on the quarterback sneak?
Why?
Oh, for us, why? Absolutely. But it just seemed too easy for some teams like our
How
team.
they gonna change it to what?
Well, where you can't push the guy. Because it wasn't all just Hurts.
But he was gonna push in the back.
He was
Yeah.
getting, well, a part of it was our offensive line, like Kelsey and Dickerson and Sayamalu. And a lot of it was Hurts with his legs, but, also the guys behind him pushing him. which
Okay.
I think until somebody gets hurt, they're not going to care. If somebody gets hurt and they're like, well, it's because you're pushing him into a hit, that's why you can't do it. But
I mean, if that's the case, then sometimes you see the running back running, and then you have people pushing him too.
yeah. it's
So
the
where do
same
you
thing.
stop?
Yeah,
So
you put flags on them.
I think that they're gonna stop the pushing. I just got that feeling they're gonna do it. But I will say this, boy, Hurts is one strong runner. I mean, hey, that 2-point conversion he got, was that amazing? He was stopped on like almost the 2-yard line.
No, it wasn't. No, it was a touchdown. He was stopped, right?
No, it was the 2-point, wasn't it the 2-point conversion?
It was a 2-point
The
conversion.
2-point conversion, like he was getting tackled on like the 2-yard line.
Then he dove in.
Bull his way into the end zone, which was unbelievable.
I'm glad his shoulder was better.
Well,
and
that's
he-
the other thing. Aren't you the one that said that?
yeah, that's what they were saying on the radio.
They're keeping it real quiet, but I think he is going to get some kind of procedure. There's something there that's bothering him. And you know what? If it really was bothering him, I give him a lot of credit for not talking about it. Like he talked like he's ready to go. But he did say that he's not 100%. That's the only thing he would say.
Well,
So-
just don't let him go to Rothman Orthopedics, because I just got an update on my phone that Chris Maragos went to Rothman Orthopedics when he played with the Eagles to get surgery on, I guess, his like a torn labrum, and he just got awarded $43.5 million because
Wow.
the procedure went wrong and it shortened his career.
Maybe we should all go to Rothman. We'll make it
Well, let's
work.
not send our quarterback that we're about to pay.
Oh, that's
We're about to pay $50 million.
Wow, man, that's unbelievable. Well, he didn't make anywhere near that money when he was with the
No,
Eagles.
No,
He was
that's
a special teams guy. That's
yeah.
all he was. So, wow. Last question. This is the last one. Another free agent next year is our backup quarterback.
Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. So let's say he goes somewhere.
He should.
Would you guys be open to grabbing Foles as your backup?
He's never coming back here.
Isn't he
I
retiring?
would draft a
He
quarterback.
was with Indianapolis, I think.
I thought you were gonna say, would you mind having Wentz back as a backup?
No. No.
Sign somebody who plays how Hurts does, so
Yeah,
That's
you
true.
don't change your game plan if he gets hurt. That's what killed us when, man, they were running the same plays they do with Hurts, and Minshew can't run those plays.
I'd
Yeah, that's
actually
true.
really like to see Minshew go somewhere and have a chance to start though. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's possible. Any, we've been on an hour. Any last minute thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up?
I think the future is bright. At least thank God we have a quarterback, and thank God Gannon got a full-time head coaching job.
Yeah.
I would have been so pissed if he was back. I don't want to hear all these people saying he's such a genius, and I don't understand what's going on because I'm like
Here's my
he's
last
an
question.
average Joe.
Here's my last question to you, Vahe. When are those green lights coming down?
Actually, today I was thinking of changing it to red because it's Valentine's Day.
I thought you were going to say pitchers and catchers on Thursday.
You're right. I
That's
should
where
put red.
Well, I'm saying.
I should change it to red.
Yeah.
That's where I was
It
going.
funny
Pitchers
though.
and catchers.
I didn't even notice they were there until you told me. And then I looked at, oh my God, I didn't realize they're all in front of your house.
Today is Valentine's. I thought about making it red, but I said, it's too much work to just
If we
too lazy.
if we are ending the podcast though, shouldn't we talk even a second about the San Francisco 40 Whiners? Like
Oh
they
my
have
God.
not stopped crying over this loss.
What a joke.
Oh my God, it's so embarrassing to be a player on that team and still crying over
Even,
everything.
even John Lynch was whining.
Oh my God, it's
Okay,
disgusting.
Yeah, so they're good though. They're a really good defensive team. I'll give
I don't
them-
know. Are they going to be the same next year with D'Amico gone?
I don't give a
Yeah.
We're gonna smoke them again.
I think any defensive coordinator would do good there because they're just, they have linebackers that are so fast.
They're coming back to Philly next year too, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. I can't believe that game's here because
Yeah.
they played San Francisco came here last year in the second game of the season.
Yeah, you're right.
When Garoppolo was quarterback in the
Right,
second game
yeah.
of the season, and it was like a weird score, like 16-11 or something
Like
like.
the second game of the year. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember that. So,
Count that as a win for next year.
well, you got, and don't they play Kansas City at Kansas City?
Yeah, that could be the
Yeah, that's
opening.
That
I'll
could
bet
be
you
an
that's going to be the
opening night.
opening game.
Yeah,
This
they're
Thursday
saying,
night
they're
game.
saying that's
Count
gonna be
that
a
as a
Thursday
win
night
too.
game.
That's going to be the big game
Yeah, they already said that's probably gonna be the Thursday night game.
because
about
either
that?
that or maybe Cincinnati. But no, I mean this game was like really popular, right? So I wouldn't be surprised.
Third most watched TV show ever, of all time, the third most watched.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
either that or it's going to be Cincinnati game.
Yeah, it's possible, but now they got a tough schedule, but there'll be a lot of interesting games. The one game I'm looking forward to is when Arizona comes here.
They're
I
gonna-
would
They're going to
love,
suck. They're going to suck.
I don't care. I would love to be able to get tickets to that game and stand by their locker room an hour before the game with a lot of the fans when the players and the coaches come out. I would love to.
He's gonna get,
I want
he's
to
gonna
get
get
hammered big time. Big time. So, all right, we're gonna wrap this up. Another year in the books. Thanks so much, guys, for being a part of this. Flying High with the Birds, Philadelphia Eagles talk.
See ya.
See ya.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.